Welcome back to the final segment today of Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Online Trading Academy. My name is Josh Lilquist, and we've been having a fantastic time here. The good old days. The boys are back in town talking about the financial markets. We kicked off the show. It's the Summertime Blues. You had an artist where they originated. I was talking about more on the Alan Jackson side of things. Mid 90s, I believe that song came out, and the Summertime Blues, and how the market just didn't do a ton this week. It was kind of stagnant in a we'll call it accumulation phase potentially, or it's just not a whole lot going on. News hasn't been driving things, but it still brings opportunities in smaller time frames with income strategies. We also talk about the wealth strategies on segment 3, especially protecting your portfolios, how to take small portions of that using leverage and keep the majority of your money safe. If you missed take us to the investing class, we have these classes during the week. We also have these on the weekends, and we talk about all the concepts and strategies. And it's a visual learning experience, hands-on, where you can see how these markets work, see the different strategies with options, futures, and Forex, and the stock market to make smart investing decisions. If you did miss that, text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for this class locally here in Bloomington. Text the word investing to the number 210 or right off 494. Real easy to get to. Nice state-of-the-art facility. We have 3 different classrooms here for people to come in to see how these markets work. If you're brand new or if you've been trading for 20, 30 years, text the word investing to the number 210 right now for 2 seats. So as I ended that last segment, you kind of brought some thoughts to my mind here. I mentioned at the beginning of the show, you have a beautiful mind, and my mind works in wondrous ways sometimes. And when you're talking, I'm just kind of thinking about different topics that I think would be important for people to understand and learn about here on the show. So you mentioned earlier, people learned how to drive. At one point, they didn't know how to do that.
Correct.
But then they learned it. So anything in life that you do, you have to learn. And where do you learn how to do certain things? Driving, usually it's your parent. That's usually who's teaching people how driving, or even going back younger, riding a bike. Learning math, that would be a teacher typically, or a parent, right? Probably both. And so you have to learn from somebody that has done it,
Right.
and that can keep you steered into the right path and in the right direction. But there's always things that come in there that can slow you down, right? In the example of a child learning how to ride a bike, it's the fear of falling down. It's that ant that's on the ground. We all probably laugh because there's probably been a situation there. With driving, it's the fear of crashing. With learning how to do math, it's the fear of not knowing or looking silly in front of the classroom. So there's always distractions that can slow people down. Same thing in the financial markets. There's barriers that keep people from learning how to trade and invest. And there's let's say the top 5. I'm going to say 4 of them because I want you to come up with your own, Al. One would be it's online everywhere. You see it everywhere. You pull up Facebook, there's ads online all day. So, learn to do this, learn to do that. Oh, you're going to make $1 billion tomorrow, right? Crazy stuff. Number 2, news is scaring people. There's a lot of news that's out there, and their job is to entertain people, but they have red colors to scare people, green colors to keep people with greed and fuel that stuff. So that's another barrier. Another one is there's misinformation out there. A lot of the information, and where is that actually coming from? Number 4, there's a lot of YouTube, excuse my French, but garbage out there. You got to know who's actually teaching these different techniques and strategies. Is it legit? All that stuff. So there's a lot of garbage out there. So those are my top 4, and I want you to come up with your own here. I don't want to. Hopefully, I didn't put you on the spot here, but there's barriers out there. I want you to come up with one of the last ones here, Al. And then, what are some things you can do to kind of have blinders on, like a horse? You have a horse that has blinders on, so it keeps in that path. It's going, if you got a horse in the Kentucky Derby, it's not looking at the left, it's not looking at the right. If you have the Olympics, everybody's seen that picture of Michael Phelps, and I believe it was the swimmer from, oh gosh, I don't remember, but it was a green color flag. And he was looking at Michael Phelps as he was swimming. Phelps was straight. We know who won. It was the good old Michael Phelps. How do you How do you keep the blinders on and stay focused on what you want to accomplish?
Yeah, I think most of what you just listed as your reasons, your barriers, really get down to people either using their opinions or afraid to have an opinion because of a lack of knowledge. And fear is just a lack of knowledge. It's just not understanding something. So you do that, you overcome that by getting an education and not listening to what other people think should happen, but follow who already is doing it successfully. You already kind of hit on that when you were talking about if you're going to learn anything, learn it from someone who knows how to do it. If you're going to learn how to ride a bike, you don't learn from some other kid who doesn't know how to ride a bike, who falls off every time. You learn from someone who knows how to do it. The same thing is true, and that's what we really excel at. We have professional instructors that do this on a regular basis. They have proven to us that they're successful.
But they can also teach it as well. That's the barrier for them.
That is huge. Who teaches, how they teach is huge, and we've been able to kind of pick and choose who we have teaching these classes. So here's some barriers that I think a lot of people also will look at. Lack of knowledge is number one, and that's what we do. We overcome that. We help by giving you not only the knowledge, but showing you how to use it, building the skills to use it. And then also the fear of losing. That's a huge thing. If you're going to be investing your money and you're in control of your money, that is a huge thing to overcome. That's the number one thing we teach is how to manage risk, how to not let losing overcome your ability or your desire to or confidence to be a trader or investor. Another one is lack of money. People don't think they have enough money to do that. The assets we talked about, the leveraged assets like options, we didn't really get into futures and Forex, but those are also leveraged assets that allow you to have a small account that can control something much greater. So the example we used of Apple at $17,000 for a 100-share position, you could do the same thing with an option for $500 or maybe $1,000. That kind of overcomes that lack of money issue. Another one is not having confidence. Why don't you have confidence? Well, it's because if you've tried to do this, or maybe you know people who have tried and they've lost, that doesn't give you a very comfortable or confident feeling. One of the things that we do when we teach is start from the basics and build up from there. Building confidence is one of the number one goals that we have. And you can only do that by using something on a repetitive basis that gives you the confidence based on the fact that you see it works on a consistent basis. So we kind of cover that lack of confidence issue. And then the cost of trading. A lot of people think, well, it just costs too much. Commissions are too high. Not anymore. They used to be years ago, it'd cost you a couple $100 to do a stock position. Now almost every firm out there has zero commissions for stock trading. With the foreign exchange market, zero commissions. For futures and options, it's very minimal. It's almost non-existent. So don't let that keep you away from investing or trading in these markets. So whatever your barrier is, whatever is keeping you from doing this, talk to us about that. Let us know what that is. And then also let us know what you want your future to look like. What does your financial future look like to you in your mind? What's your dream, your goal? And then how are you going to get there? Well, you're not going to get there if you're not willing to take the next step and benefit from what the market is providing. The companies like Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, Merrill Lynch, do you think they're just struggling and hardly making it every year? No, and the majority of their profits and for many of those companies is in their trading. And if they're doing that and you can do the same thing that they're doing and basically just follow what they're doing, the potential, the opportunities for you are really unlimited. You just have to know how to do it. And you mentioned a price chart. If you go in for an X-ray, you don't read the film. Like they send it to a radiologist. The price chart is basically the same thing in the financial world. We teach you how to read a price chart because everything you need to know is on that chart. Keep it simple and just look at a chart, be able to find where the buying area is and where the selling area is based on these big institutions. They're showing us on a price chart. We just show you how to read that chart.
Yep. Someone that came along before me once said, you got to keep it simple, smarty. And
that's magnificent.
It is magnificent. See, I told you by the end of the show I would be able to do that. It's been a great show here today. We've had a lot of different techniques and concepts. We have a lot of fun, as you can tell, on the show here. We've been on the show here. How many years have we been doing this now? I mean, gosh, several years, probably.
I think I've done it 6 or 7 years now.
Yeah, I mean, and the show here has been on the airwaves for, I think, over 10 now. I mean, many years locally here in Minnesota. So we have a good time on the show here. But, text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for an investing class to learn about these techniques and concepts that we're talking about. See what those barriers are, how to overcome that to make smart investing decisions. So, Al, as I said earlier, we've had a lot of good fun here and a lot of OTA strategies and techniques, but you always have that OTA tip of the week, so let's hear it for today.
Well, you know what? I like to follow Tony Robbins, great motivational speaker. So here's a quote from him. A belief is a feeling of certainty about what something means. You can be certain about something that isn't true, and it will control you. Beliefs control what we think, what we feel, and what we experience. Whatever belief you have, it controls you, unquote. End of quote. So, but every decision in our life is controlled by our beliefs, and our beliefs are developed and designed by learning and modeling after other people. That's who we learn from. So ask yourself, who's impacting the development of your investing, trading, financial beliefs, and where and from who did they get their beliefs? Wouldn't it make sense to learn and model your investment beliefs and behavior from people who have a proven success at it?
Get started today. It's almost like that old quote. I mean, since you're referencing quotes, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. But you will never know unless you start. Text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for an investing class to get started down that path. As always, same time, same place next week. Until then, retire young, my friends.